Isgar is a garden colony operated by people and the government of theology. They believe in gods and goddesses and often elect a pope to lead both state and church. Isgar sits at the farthest reaches of the known galaxy. The void beyond the planet is unexplored itself. The ports of Isgar used to be teeming with exploratory and science ships looking to resupply or restock, all eager to find out what was beyond. Many tried to get to the other side, none ever made it. According to the tales and stories, most of which I heard from drunks, tell a story of a supernatural origin, like something was preventing them from ever going forward. They say that the void they sailed through was eerie, darkness for days, months, or even years. This, they say, drove some to madness, thrown overboard, left in the void. Some others say that they saw a beast, a giant beast lurking in the darkness, emerging ever so slightly into view. Another drunken man claims to even touch the beast and saw its red, glowing eye up close and personal. And he says it was the eyes of the devil. Could you believe that? Same stories, same tales. Some even had the nerve to say that they slayed the beast. What a bunch of crap, I say. That was far long ago. The war with the Empire and the theology brought Isgar, a once rich garden world, into another backwater planet. The riches they once held from the ports are all but gone. Exploration did not matter anymore. War was much more profitable after all. Privateering, mercenary work, a chance to become a vassal, drove more and more ships and people to the front lines, my son included. I wonder what he is doing now. I hope he is okay, though the thought of him dying was not out of the picture. I just hope he returns alive or at least intact. I am not a fan of war. I was a veteran. I saw what war is. Old men talk while the young men fought. I saw my brothers die, their guts splattered, limbs torn and broken. It was hell itself. I still have dreams of those moments. The people I killed haunt me in my sleep, their faces distorted, their screams, the screams that keep me awake at night, my brothers begging for help, yet I could not move nor speak. I never wished for my son to experience this. That is why I forbade him to go to war, yet he still did, and I was powerless to stop him. I run a small tavern in Isgar, near the port. It was the only tavern left. Business isn't great, same faces every day, same stories. One would get bored out of one's mind. That was maybe why my son left. The population wasn't doing well either. Most of the young went to fight or work on other planets. Now only the old are left. I hated the war. I hated how it took my son. I hated what it did to my planet, to my cities. I hated the nobles who started the war. I hated that it has gone this long. I hated being taxed to death. I hated the world, the galaxy. But most of all, I hated myself for failing my wife. A simple request, protect our child. I hated that I would see her in the afterlife looking at me disappointed. I prayed to all the gods to please put an end to this war, put an end to this misery, yet none answered, nothing but silence. It was a cold, moonlit night, a strong breeze as I chatted with my old friend in the cemetery. We fought together in the army. We promised each other to return alive. Well, only one of us kept his promise. I was told he died after a botched assault on the enemy line. So in a fit of rage, I stormed the very same line they attacked and took it. I was proclaimed as a war hero and given a medal. Funny, all I was waiting for was for someone to kill me. I was drinking some of my homemade brew, occasionally pouring one for my old friend. I talked to him about many things, my son, the loss of my wife, my life. It was rather calming to have someone to talk to, even if he is 6 feet under. I talked about the gods and their powers. If they are so powerful, why don't they just stop the war, let it end, go back to the time where we only worked and worshipped? There was a church just ahead of where I was sitting next to my friend's gravestone. I slowly walked towards it, swaying side to side, clearly drunk. There was a statue of the goddess Willow, goddess of peace. I kneeled clasping both my hands and prayed, "O goddess of peace, hear my prayer. I would gladly pay any price. Please just stop this war, I beg of you. Have we not suffered enough? Have we not spilled enough blood? What more do you need of us?" The moonlit night was interrupted by a bright glow in space just above the planet. I thought I had seen everything, yet this was something new. From what I could see, it was a big white glow in a circular fashion. A loud sound emitted from it like thunder. It woke the entire city. All came out of their dwelling and looked to the sky and saw what I saw. From the white thing came hundreds of unidentified objects. I ran to the city center. I was old, yes, but not that old. I saw something out of the corner of my eye. It glowed red like a meteor coming down. I do not know where it was headed, but if it was what I thought it would probably land towards the old dock. The planet had only a small amount of anti-void weapons, but no young men to mount it, and with no permanent planetary forces, having only a small militia to fend off pirates composed of old men. If it was pirates, we would lose. I ran to the mayor. "What is happening, Malil?" I asked. "I do not know. I just heard cracks. I thought I was hearing things." Malil answered, "Have you told the militia to arm itself? It may be pirates." I say as we walked down the stairs to the port. "I had sent out messages. They should be here by the minute." He answered, "Okay, I'll get my gun from the store." "Tell them not to approach the landing pad," I told him as I ran for my store. The gun was a Mark 6 plasma rifle hidden beneath the bar table. I also had a Rincha pattern scattershot, but it was upstairs. I reloaded the Mark 6 with plasma canisters I took from the box just beneath the Mark 6 and headed out to the docks, where most of the militia and almost all the citizens were watching as the ship landed perfectly on the dock. The militia held the high ground looking down onto the platform, which was hanging on a cliff above the sea. There was a ramp going up onto the city street. On each side were militia members pointing guns toward the dock. I was just about to regroup with the militia, but before I could, the shuttle doors opened. All guns were readied and pointed at the shuttle door. I rushed to the platform while shouting to the others not to fire. I was curious. Well, all of us were curious. I was alone on the landing pad with the shuttle slowly walking towards it, weapon at the ready. A being with what looks like carapace armor like those bugs, the Clandu species. It had a suit of green, but it was not a uniform color. It had different shades. It had 4 limbs just like us. It had a helmet covering his entire head. Its face was covered in a dark material we had never seen before. As it stepped out, he was taller than us by a few meters. Its hands were at the level of its shoulder with his palm open. I could count 5 digits for each hand. A far different species of us, though we are similar in limbs. We had only 3 for our digits. At #% at $$ circumflex at, it spoke, "I do not understand your language. State your business. What are you doing here?" I asked. Wait, why did I ask them in my language? They clearly cannot understand us. Stupid, I thought to myself. It gestured on its neck, pointing at something. A metal thing was embedded into the neck of the creature. It moved and I instinctively raised my gun to it. It reached for a thing in its shirt pocket located on its chest. A weird place for a pocket, I thought to myself. It took out another one of the things on its neck. It threw it near me and I picked it up, still keeping my gun pointed to him. He gestured again, telling me to put the thing on my neck as well. I was confused and distrusting. Why would I put an unknown thing in my neck? It would be stupid to immediately trust something, especially from a species I have never seen before. $and $, $% at hasho circumflex. It kept speaking. He pointed at me, then at himself, then made this weird gesture by making his hand into something like a V formation, sideways opening and closing its hand. "Put the goddamn thing on your neck, Isgar," Malil shouted from the crowd. "I am not putting something in my neck that is alien. What if this was a parasite?" I retorted, You watch too many goddamn movies, Isgar. Just put the damn thing on. I promise I'll kill you if you turn. Malil shouted with a gleeful smile. Buy me a barrel and I'll do it. I say, done. Malil answered. I put on the damn thing on my neck and it started to hurt, searing pain for a few seconds. Then it stopped. Can you understand me now? Says the alien. Why, yes. State your business and reason, I say, as I signal to put down the weapons. Commander Tixon of the 3rd Army Terran Command, he said as he put the tip of his hand on his helmet and stood straight. Are you the leader of that massive fleet? I asked. That would be Grand Admiral Glenn Tarvik. He answered, Then what is your purpose here then? I asked, Simple, we are lost. He answered, Oh, I see. I say. This was the very first encounter of a new species, humanity, the Terran Republic.